Brought to you by Penguin.
Such Charming Liars by Karen M. Mcmanus. Read by Skyler Gallun and Victoria Villarreal.
For Jay, Julie, Luis Fernando, and April. Chapter 1. Cat. Would the young lady like to see something with a pearl? I'd love to, I say. The voice I use isn't mine. It's what Jem calls vaguely posh, meant to convey a childhood at British boarding schools, interrupted by a transatlantic move to New England that almost, but not entirely, eliminated my accent. It's a lot to get across in 3 words, and I don't think I nailed it, but the man behind the counter smiles kindly. 16 is an important birthday, he says. I couldn't agree more, which is why I spent mine in my friend Hannah's hot tub with Nick Sheridan and a flask of tequila. But now is not the time to share that recollection, so I just smile demurely as Jem says, "A special day for my special girl." Jem's accent is impeccable. She sounds like a BBC presenter and looks like a 21st century version of the grandmother on Downton Abbey. I barely recognized her when she came to pick me up, and couldn't stop stealing glances at her transformation during the drive to the Prudential Center in Back Bay. Jem's coarse steel-gray hair is concealed beneath a silvery chignon. She's decked out in an elegant blue suit that would fit in at a royal wedding. And she's done some kind of makeup magic that's tamed her leathery skin into soft, powdery lines. I don't recognize myself either when I glance into the mirror behind the counter. I'm a buttery blonde, for one thing, and I'm wearing a blouse and skirt combo that looks expensive, even though I'm sure it's not. The non-prescription tortoiseshell glasses I have on are so cute that I might make them a permanent part of my wardrobe. Jem and I are cosplaying the kind of people who swan into Bennington and Maine to celebrate birthdays with expensive jewelry, and we are pulling it off. "Something like this?" the sales associate asks, holding up a delicate rose gold ring with a single gray pearl. It's exactly the kind of ring a wealthy, indulgent grandmother would buy. And even though Jem is none of those things, she gives a regal nod of approval. "Try it on, Sophie," she says. I slip it onto my right index finger and hold out my hand, admiring the subtle shine. Not my style at all, but perfect for Sophie Hicks Hartwell. That's my getting into character name, which I picked not only because it, too, sounds vaguely posh, but because it's the name of a girl whose Instagram identity was stolen in a twisted true crime story that I devoured recently on my favorite podcast. A little inside joke that even Jem didn't catch. "It's so pretty," I say. "What do you think, Nana?" "Very sweet," Jem says, peering over her bifocals. "But a bit on the small side." That's the cue for the sales associate, whose name tag reads Bernard, to show us bigger and better rings. Jem's eyes rove over them like dual cameras, capturing every detail of the luxe designs and storing them away for future reference. Jem might be pushing 70, but her memory is 1,000 times sharper than mine. Photographic, my mother always says. "Should we look at something with a diamond?" she asks. "Hell yeah," is on the tip of my tongue, but that's a cat response. Sophie would never. "Really? Could we?" I simper as Bernard pulls out another tray. "Looks like your grandmother is getting ready to spoil you," he says, eyes gleaming with the reflected glow of a bigger commission. For the first time, my stomach swoops guiltily. When Jem proposed this little field trip, I was more than happy to come along, because Bennington and Maine is a retail nightmare. A historic family-owned store that got snapped up by an obnoxious crypto-billionaire and transformed into a Tiffany copycat. The new CEO hired an emerging designer to update what he called the company's staid style, then fired her once her designs took off. In other words,
sample complete. Ready to continue?